Welcome back. This is Mr. Bragan. Students, currently you should be sitting in your first period class. Again, you should be in your first period class. For those of you that are still in the hallway, no worries. Please just make your way to your first period class. Students, we're excited to have you back. We look forward to continuing a long tradition of academic success here at North Central. But most importantly, we look forward to the opportunity just to get to know you better, talk to you. A lot of it's been over a virtual platform, and now we finally have the opportunity to develop some professional relationships in person. So welcome, welcome, welcome. In first period right now, you should be receiving your new schedule. It should be on green paper, I believe, as well. For those of you that took your photo IDs first semester, you should be getting your IDs right now in class as well. We're handing out lanyards. We're handing out shields for your IDs. So teachers, make sure you hand those out first period this morning. Students, well, I'm going to be very brief this morning, but I want you to understand we're going to move by bell through your entire schedule today. So please follow it. Be mindful of social distancing while at school. Remember, face masks should be worn at all times unless you're eating or drinking at school. But other than that, please keep those masks up. Make sure you go to the restroom frequently and wash your hands during your passing periods, before you eat, after you eat, etc. There's going to be a lot of bells today. For those who were with us last semester, you know that we'll have staggered bells through the course of the day. Half the building will be released at a time for social distancing purposes. But besides the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, make sure you take some time, take a little time to talk to your teacher, get to know him, her, as a person. We've got 2 days together this week, a great opportunity to meet and greet. So, for some of that said, let's have a great first day back.
All right. Good morning, everyone. For those of you on Zoom, I'm going to go ahead and put a question for you here on a warm-up. And I'm going to go ahead and mute and talk to the students in the room here about their schedules and lanyards and whatnot. All right. So, okay, those of you on Zoom, I put the question in the chat box. Please respond, and then we'll get going here in about 5 minutes. Zoom, I'm back here. Just looking at your responses real quick. Seems like turning in work and not missing assignments is kind of a key theme here. Also participating. So thank you for your candid responses. What we're going to go ahead here and do today. So for those of you, if you have your computers out, if you could go to module week 3. Those of you on Zoom, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here once I get back to Canvas. And what I want you to see is I did not update the schedule yet on my front page. So don't follow that schedule. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the schedule that you want to follow on Zoom so that you don't get confused. I know we're on our, I don't even know, honestly, probably our 8th schedule or something like that. So chat box. Not letting me copy and paste. I don't know why. Let me see if I can do this one. All right, Zoomers, I'll figure out how to get the schedule to you. Basically, we're back on the 7:20 to 8:10, so every class is 50 minutes, and they're going to give us the normal 6-minute passing period. Back to 6-minute passing periods, not 5. All right, I'll put that on Canvas here shortly, and I'll put it in the chat box once it lets me copy and paste. Okay, so we're going to go to modules today. Go ahead and click on that, and in week 3, you're going to see your intro for the week. Does everyone have that? Give me a thumbs up. Awesome. All right. So Mr. Renshaw made this intro. This is kind of his first attempt at making a reading guide assignment. So you're going to notice that there is not the textbook there, but I'm going to go ahead and add that. Just real quickly here. Where will I find it? Yeah, what's it called? Is it 1, 2, 3? It'll be in modules 1 and 2. Can you see it?
Yeah,
There it is. I found it. I think I did. All right. So textbook reading is in the module. If everybody will go to refresh the page, if you refresh the page real quick. All right. So this is typically going to be a Monday assignment, what we call the asynchronous day. You remember last week? Those are going to actually start becoming normal. You'll be in here Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you'll be back at home Thursday, Friday. For those of you on Zoom, if you're Black Day, you'll be flipping. And so I kind of want to get this week started off really slowly, getting into the right habits, so then we don't have a bunch of missing assignments, and you can worry about, trying to learn math over Zoom or, in person / half online or whatever, virtual. That's a lot harder than reading something and answering questions. Okay. So doing that to try to help everybody. All right. So if you click on the intro, and I want you to go ahead and do that from virtual and in person and download that. Okay. When you download it, can you find it on a Google Doc, or does it come up as a Word doc? That's what I was curious about. Thumbs up. On your Chromebooks, you have Word? No one ever told me that. Okay, cool. Great. All right, so go ahead and do that. You'll notice that the assignment isn't made yet. So I will make it as an assignment here in a second for you to upload. But then I want you to go ahead and get the textbook on your screen as well. Okay. So go ahead and get the textbook on your screen also. Now, those of you here, okay, I understand that you maybe want to actually hold a physical book. I mean, I'm old school. You were in middle school, you probably grew up using Canvas all the time and stuff. But if not, okay, this if you want to actually use the textbook. Okay, I'm gonna put a few out here. You have to wipe it down if you use it, but if you'd rather read off a real book, I'm not gonna lie, that might be nice. Feel free to do that, okay? I can put more out there if you need them. Like I said, we'll just wipe them down when we're done and go with that. All right, so I've got iPhone waiting to enter. I wonder who that is. Let's see who we got here. Who is? All right, so what I want to do then is let's go ahead and for you, I believe we are on page 329. 329, where it says the Atlantic slave trade. If you are on the Zoom and your name is iPhone, please identify who you are or else you are going to be marked absent and you will not get any participation points for today. So probably want to think about that. Now you just left without even talking to me. Excellent. That's not good. What's up? That one? Okay, you grab the book that I spliced it out of. All right. Here. How bad? Hey, if any of you need a binder or anything organizational wise, I have some extra ones back here too. Just let me know, okay? You want to start keeping track of notes or stuff paper wise. All right, iPhone is back. We're still trying to figure out who that is. So 329, we start with the Atlantic slave trade. And I'm going to go ahead and do the first couple of questions with everybody. And then I'm going to let you on your own and hopefully get this done by the end of the period. All right, so I'll take the first paragraph. Kennedy, thank you for identifying yourself. That is helpful. And here we go. So, European expansion led to a dramatic increase in the slave trade. Trafficking in enslaved people was not new. As in other areas of the world, slavery had been practiced in Africa since ancient times. However, the demand for enslaved Africans increased with the European settlement of the Americas in the 1490s and the planting of sugarcane there. So, question number one. If we were to, I'm going to go ahead and download this also. Put it on the screen. Now, if we were, I'm going to stop the share here and move it all the way over to there. All right, what would we say led to the dramatic increase of the slave trade then?
The European expansion.
All right, so one's going to be European expansion. Good. Chris, you following with me here? Okay, good. What else? What else? Yes, Nate. Yeah. And the planting of sugarcane. Good. So pretty simple. Let's go to the next paragraph then. So In the grand scheme of things, here's where we're going this week, just so everybody has an idea. Okay. We're going with first, we talked about global exploration, Columbus, kind of, the Columbian Exchange. Then we moved into how the Spanish set up the New World last week. And then this week, we're talking about how most of the natives perished, so the demand for labor caused the Atlantic slave trade to happen. Okay. All right. So question 2 here says, what crop was Caribbean plantations established to grow in the 1500s? Let's go to the second paragraph. Does anybody on Zoom want to read out loud? Probably not. I'll take it. That's okay. We'll get more comfortable with this. All right.
Was Caribbean plantations established to grow in the 1500s?
Yeah, we're going to read that whole paragraph. So, plantations were established in the 1500s along the coast of Brazil and on the Caribbean islands to grow sugarcane. Growing cane sugar demands many laborers. Already devastated by European diseases, a surviving population of Native Americans could not supply the labor needed. So enslaved Africans were shipped to the Americas to relieve a labor shortage on plantations. All right, so what would we put for question 2 then? Anybody in class want to help me out here? What crop was established what crop was Caribbean plantations established to grow in the 1500s? Jacob? Sugar cane is again the answer. And it's really difficult to make. All right, we're going to go ahead and read the next 2 paragraphs, and then we will actually next 4 paragraphs, and then we'll get to this map. So, in 1518, a Spanish ship carried the first enslaved Africans directly from Africa to the Americas. During the next 2 centuries, the trade in enslaved people grew dramatically, in part because it became part of the triangular trade that connected Europe, Africa, and the American continents. The triangular trade functioned as follows. European merchant ships carried European manufactured goods, such as guns and cloth, to Africa, where they were traded for enslaved people. The enslaved Africans were then sent to the Americas and sold. European merchants then bought tobacco, molasses, sugar, and raw cotton in the Americas and shipped them back to Europe. So if you're following along, I'm going to turn the page here. A couple people are. If you're at home and you're using your textbook instead of using the screen, I respect that because I actually have a nasty sty on my eye. It's really, really red. I think it's because I was looking at the screen so much last week. Okay, bad for you. All right. As a result of this triangular trade, as many as 10 million enslaved Africans were brought to the Americas between the 16th century and the late 19th century. Their journey from Africa to the Americas became known as the Middle Passage, the middle portion of the triangular trade route. Many enslaved Africans died on the journey. Those who survived often died from diseases to which they had little or no immunity. Death rates were higher for newly arrived enslaved Africans than for those born and reared in the Americas. The new generation gradually developed at least a partial immunity to many diseases. Slaveholders, however, rarely encouraged enslaved people to have children. Many slaveholders, especially on islands in the Caribbean, believed that buying a new enslaved person was less expensive than rearing a child from birth to working age. So this is a continuation of the gross labor policies that were established by the first explorers, and then it got worse as slaves came from the continent of Africa, the West Coast. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this map on the screen. It says for questions 3 to 7, use the map below. So what does this map represent? On Zoom, if you want to raise your hand, use the hand raise function, please. In person, just raise your hand like you normally would. What does the map represent? Yes, sir. All right, so it represents the triangular trade route. Wesley, we're going to say the same thing?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, correct. Let's go down to number 4 then. What products would European ships send to Africa along line 1 that they would trade for slaves? So go back to line 1. What products were going from Europe to Africa? Okay, Nate, what do you got? Okay, so guns and cloth. Good. All right, what product would be sent to the Americas then along line 2? Notice product is in quotations. Chris, did you catch that? What would go from Africa to the Americas? You can pass if you want. Okay, Jordan, you got it? What would go from here to here? Rise, what we're gonna say? Yeah, so if you look on the map from in the second part of the triangular trade, you're going to see that it would be slaves that were captured and imported to the Americas. Okay. All right, good. Let's go down to 6 then. What product or materials acquired by indigenous people and slaves would be sent to Europe along line 3? So let's go back. And so what goes from the Americas to Europe in triangular trade? If you want to answer on Zoom, just raise your hand. If you want to answer in person, just raise your hand. What do we got, folks? All right, so sugar's a big one. What else? Yeah. Tobacco. Get my big jaw. Right. Molasses. So you combine a little alcohol and sugar and you get yourself some rum. Yeah. Cotton. Yep. What else? You guys studied this in middle school, didn't you? Indigo. Have you heard of that before? That's a type of that's like a type of dye. Indigo jeans. Remember, have you heard of that? All right. Which of the 3 lines represents what's known as the middle passage then? This is what we're going to be talking about this week quite a bit. Which of these represents the middle passage? Jacob. Which of the 3 lines represents the middle passage? Ethan, you had your hand up.
Africa to the Americas.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah, so line 2, if we go back up to the map, line 2 represents what's known as the middle passage. And this was, and throughout history has been just one of the more talked about things due to the lack of human empathy on this middle passage, the amount of people that died. I'm gonna show you on the board tomorrow what 18 inches by 12 inches looks like. And that is the amount of space that the average slave was given on the trip from from Africa to the Americas. It's so small. Thinking about being in that space for 2 to 3 months is mentally and morally disturbing, obviously. Okay, let's go ahead and Go down to 8, who traded enslaved Africans to the Europeans? So let's pick up sources of enslaved Africans. Okay, we're back on page 330. Before Europeans arrived in the 15th century, most enslaved persons in Africa were prisoners of war. Europeans first brought enslaved people from African merchants at slave markets and were return for gold, guns, or other European goods. Local slave traders first obtained their supplies of enslaved persons from nearby coastal regions. As demand grew, they had to move further inland to find their victims. Local rulers became concerned about the impact of the slave trade on their societies. King Alfonso of Congo attempted to describe the extent of the crisis of his country. We cannot reckon how great the damage is, since the slave traders are taking every day our natives, sons of the land, and the sons of our noblemen and vassals and our relatives. So great, sir, is the corruption and licentiousness that our country is being completely depopulated. Europeans and other Africans, however, generally ignored such protests. Local rulers who traded in enslaved people viewed the slave trade as a source of income. Many sent raiders into defenseless villages. And they would send them into defenseless villages, and what did they have on them that would give them an advantage? Starts with a G, ends in uns.
Guns.
Guns, exactly. Yes. All right. So question 8, who traded the enslaved Africans to the Europeans? Who was it? Yes. Say that again. Start a little louder for me. Yeah. So you had African merchants that actually traded that would raid and get the slaves, bring them to the coast, because Europeans were not strong enough to actually move into the interior of Africa. It wouldn't be until the 1800s that the Europeans would discover the source of the Nile, and that's during the Industrial Revolution. At this point in time, Europeans did not have enough soldiers or guns to actually conquer African tribes, so they just basically used what they had, which was guns and alcohol and steel weapons and stuff to get people to give them slaves. All right, let's go to our last question here then. This is 9. What was the effect of slavery on many African kingdoms, such as the Benin? I had a student from Benin. Well, she's still here. She's a senior this year. All right. Let's go ahead and look at the effects. So we're finishing up here on 330. The slave trade was a tragedy for the victims and their families. Its broader effects varied from region to region. The slave trade depopulated some areas and deprived many African communities of their youngest and strongest men and women. The desire of slave traders to provide a constant supply of enslaved persons increased warfare in Africa. Coastal or near coastal African chiefs and their followers, armed with guns acquired from the trade in enslaved people, increased raids and wars on demanding peoples. Some Europeans lamented that they were going to traditional African societies. One Dutch slave trader remarked, "From us they have learned strife, quarreling, drunkenness, trickery, theft, unbridled desire for what is not one's own, misdeeds unknown to them before, and the accursed lust for gold." Those aren't good things to be teaching. The slave trade had a devastating effect on some African states. The case of Benin in West Africa was a good example. A brilliant and creative society in the 16th century, Benin was pulled into the slave trade. As the population declined and warfare increased, the people of Benin lost faith in their gods. Their art deteriorated and human sacrifice became more common. A corrupt and brutal place, it took years to discover the brilliance of the earlier culture that was destroyed by slavery. The use of enslaved Africans remained largely acceptable in European society. Europeans continued to view Africans as inferior beings fit chiefly for slave labor. Not until the Society of Friends, known as the Quakers, began to condemn slavery in the 1770s, did feelings against slavery begin to build in Europe. Even then, it was not until the French Revolution in the 1790s that the French abolished slavery. The British ended the slave trade in 1807 and abolished slavery throughout the empire in 1833. Despite these reforms, slavery continued in the newly formed United States until the Civil War of the 1860s, or the Emancipation Proclamation made by Abraham Lincoln. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. What was the effect of slavery on many African kingdoms? Nate. Okay. So Nate said destroying of culture. Anybody in Zoom want to? Ian, go ahead.
Increased warfare and depopulation.
All right. Increased warfare. Depopulation. Anything else that sticks out? What was that? What was the main purpose of that quote? What was the Dutch trader trying to say? What do you think the Dutch trader was trying to say here? Either on Zoom or in person, either one. Okay, let's revisit that quote real quick. Okay. From us, this is the Dutch trader saying that we've taught the African kingdom strife, quarreling, drunkenness, trickery, and theft, and desire for what's not their own, and gold. Is that a good thing to teach? No. So not only did they destroy their own culture, increase war, and depopulate, but they also taught what I would call unnatural behaviors that the Europeans had acquired due to their, discovery of the New World, and this idea that they had to have certain things that people had peacefully been living without for the whole history in this area of the world. Okay. All right. Here's what I'm going to do for those of you on Zoom. I'm going to on this on Canvas really quickly make a. All right, sorry, I'm gonna turn this into an assignment for you to upload right now so you have it done for the week. What's today, the 19th? All right, gonna go ahead, make a file. All right, so like I said, we won't typically do this in class, but this just being the first day. Those of you on Zoom, thanks for your patience. I just wanted to make sure we got started off on the right foot on the first day and had no missing work. I'm going to put this in the module right here. Close assignment. Sometimes it does this to me. All right, well, that should show up pretty shortly here. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes once I make a new assignment. So what I want you to do is give me maybe like give it 2 minutes. You go ahead and upload that. And that's all that you need to do right now. So if you are just logging on because you thought class started at 8 o'clock, it doesn't. Class starts at 7:20 now. Stay on and I'll put the schedule. Actually, I'm going to send everybody a Canvas message with the schedule here. And so for those of you on Zoom, if you just got on, you need to complete the reading guide, because I know 4 or 5 you just did. Those of you that are in the room, I'll show you. I'll once I can get that to upload, you'll have a spot to upload it so you have your assignment done for the week, right? At least that one, because we've got a lot more to do to work on this. All right, Zoomers. Again, the 4 or 5 of you that's logged on, I'm going to switch the share over to Chrome here. This is your week 3 intro right here. This is the textbook reading that goes with it. Now that's our 5th person to show up late. And still can't find it. All right. I'll get that here in a second. No, you're able to Zoom, or you're able to log off, work on that. And I'll send you a message to your Canvas inbox letting you know what the schedule is, because some of you that just logged on, your period 2 class is going to start in about 15 minutes or less. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later.
Bye. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay. Bye. Thank you, too.